Global unrest is bringing down all the crypto prices, including also the CRO token. And you can find it even at the borderline here of the rainbow chart. Moreover, it is retesting the all-time lows again for CRO Bitcoin. But can it get even worse? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. Currently, the CRO token is testing a very important support line here with the outer rim of the rainbow chart, because every time so far we had a beautiful bounce when we touched this line on the weekly candle. So the next few days will be very important to see if we really hold this line. But I really do believe that a bounce is more likely than a further drop. That's also based on the video that we made on Monday, because I do still believe that we might be near the start really of the CRO bull run. And let me explain you why. And definitely check out the video as well if you haven't done so. But where are we currently in the cycle? Where are we currently in the cycle? It has been about 60 weeks, I think even 62. Yeah, about 62 weeks since the halving for Bitcoin. So 62 weeks. If you take a look at where we were for CRO about 62 weeks after the Bitcoin halving, well, where were we? Well, let's take a quick look here. 62 weeks, 62 weeks. That will bring us to about this point here. You can see at about this drop. Let me zoom in a bit more so you can really see where we are. And really take a look at what just happened here, because if you go to the daily chart, I think it becomes a bit more clear. Let's quickly go to the daily chart. It was this dip here, this little small dip. My thesis has been that this has been the start previously for the CRO bull run. But even during the bull run, you have big dips. You can see that even in that bull run, we went down about minus 20%, minus 25 even. So minus 25% in a big CRO bull run that eventually brought us up to about that $1 level. So where are we now? At about the same time, we also dropped quite a bit. And I think if you take a look, we went about minus 20%. I also think we went about minus 20% here. So currently minus 22%. So if you ask me guys, based on historic results, where we are now in the cycle makes a lot of sense. I think we set our lows here already in March, or maybe even in May, a bit later. And now we're a bit higher, but we're setting higher lows. So it would make a lot of sense to me that from this point onward, after a minus 20% dip, we actually start to recover once more. But of course, this is no financial advice. I'm just pointing out some similarities here with the 2021 cycle. Having said that, there are definitely also catalysts out there that might cause a further price dump. For example, a new FOMC meeting in the next few hours. And I think we already know the outcome of the FOMC meeting, that is actually remaining at the same interest rate. However, if during the notes there was like a hawkish undertone of much uncertainty, that might really scare the markets and therefore we might see another dump. Moreover, further escalation in the Middle East can also bring down the markets. However, and I'm no military mastermind, but this seems to be a war of attrition as well. And at some point, all these missiles are firing back and forth are going to run out and the war will lose a bit of steam. And then the markets have time to recover a bit more, like what we have seen in Ukraine. But of course, guys, I also hope we'll come to a quick resolution as well, because I do think that saving lives is more important than getting green candles in our portfolio. With that in mind though, probably the markets will be very volatile in the next few days, and not only for CRO US dollar, but also for the CRO Bitcoin pair, that we're going to talk a bit later after a quick word of today's sponsor. Moonlander is a platform on the Cronos chain where you can really profit from this volatility in the market, because you can go long or short with crazy leverage up to 1000x for the bigger pairs like Bitcoin. Even better though is that soon they will also add a new category to Moonlander, namely stocks. So you can trade Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Circle, Nvidia, all now on the chain. Check it out at moonlander.trade. Anyways, let's go back to the CRO chart, because I do want to point out that this purple line seems to be great support, at least in the short term. And this support line is already more than 2 months old, so it becomes quite significant. However, though, if we do see a further dump, for example, after further escalation or a hawkish FOMC meeting, then I do expect that you need to watch this green line here. This green line comes from this pattern here, and it stretches all the way down as well. And you see we had quite a decent bounce here earlier. So then do make sure you watch about 8.3 cents for the CRO token. The next chart we're going to talk about is CRO Bitcoin, because what happened today is honestly quite scary, because we are back again at the all-time low for CRO Bitcoin. It has never been this cheap, except really for March of 2025, because then we just had the 70 billion mint announcement for the Cronos chain. But okay, this looks really bad, but I also want to point out some bullish things here, because if you start to zoom out, you do see some bullish pattern emerging as well. I do see here a double bottom and therefore also a bit of a W pattern. So maybe, guys, if this pattern is going to play out, we soon will see a bullish breakout. But of course, we do need some other confirmation for this as well. We do have some supporting arguments also for a bounce on the CRO Bitcoin pair. For example, here, this breaking news. Crypto.com partners up with BlackRock to accept their tokenized funds as trading collateral. And for the regular trading Joe, it is no big deal. But guys, BlackRock is one of the biggest parties regarding stock trading, but also one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin. And this will be great for institutions and also larger traders. So guys, this will be a massive shift also for Crypto.com and potentially the CRO token. As we're recording, we can also see a big jump really for the CRO price, because once again, we are in the green after that news. However, I still need to wait and see what's going to happen during the FOMC meeting. Personally, I have a more bullish than bearish outlook on this, because it seems the market is already pricing in the worst, and especially crypto can react very emotionally. Therefore also, I need to remind you all that there's little reason to panic. We have had more wars in the past, and the market always bounced up again. And I definitely expect it to do so this year as well. Therefore, we are counting down to, I think, the most explosive part really of this bull cycle, guys. So really, don't forget to strap in, hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe for new videos. And also, if you'd like to learn more about CRO, I've got this whole video still about where we are currently in the cycle, so check it out.